My name is Robin Silvestri, and I'm the Executive Director with Save the Great South Bay. And this is the Water Matters Show, where we talk about issues that directly affect the Bay. Today, I'm very happy to welcome Katherine Coughlin from the North Shore Land Alliance with support from the Nature Conservancy to talk about innovative and alternative wastewater treatment systems, cesspools replacements, and how they affect the health of the Great South Bay and how you can replace your system with a more updated system. So welcome, Kat. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah. Yes, thank you so much, Robin. It's really a pleasure to be on the program today, and really excited to get started and to help people learn about how they can upgrade their septic systems and help save the Great South Bay.
So let's start with the basics of what is the difference between a cesspool, a septic tank, and being connected to the sewers.
Right. So we usually see in more densely populated areas like cities or downtown areas, we most commonly see sewers. And sewers are basically a network of pipes and channels that carry wastewater and rainwater to wastewater treatment facilities where the water is then treated. It can be also go as far as being treated for nitrogen before the water is then returned to the environment. And where applicable, sewers are a great option because they provide a lot of ease of mind, and the homeowner doesn't really have to think about it when you have a sewer system. But unfortunately, in Suffolk County, more than 70% of homes rely on septic tanks and cesspools. And a septic tank and a cesspool basically works where wastewater from your home, it goes down into a pipe into a septic tank in your backyard. And a septic tank is just like a big vessel in your backyard, commonly made out of like fiberglass, steel, cement. The solids are then settled down at the bottom of your septic tank, and then the liquids travel to a cesspool ring, which is like a concrete block that has holes in it. And then that wastewater just travels directly out from the cesspool ring. And prior to 1973, it was not required to install a septic tank. So many homes really only have a cesspool ring, and they're skipping that settling step. And basically all of the water, your wastewater that goes through a cesspool, it's not treated at all. So all the waste that you put down your drain, it's not being filtered and goes directly into your groundwater. And it's not unheard of for homeowners that rely on well water to be drinking their neighbor's wastewater.
Oh, just the thought of that makes me cringe.
Yeah, it's very cringe. I've heard some horror stories about people who got their well water tested.
I think there are approximately 400,000 homes in Suffolk County. And my understanding is that about 300,000 of them are still using either outdated cesspools or septic tanks. Not everybody has the option to connect to the sewers. Let's go back to the results of the cesspool. So the wastewater goes into the tank leaches into the ground. And what does that mean for the groundwater, and more adapted to us is what does that mean for the Great South Bay?
Yeah, so it's really important to look into your septic tank and eventually upgrade it, because for many years, Long Island, Suffolk County, and the Great South Bay in particular has really been plagued with elements such as thick mats of seaweed, harmful algal blooms like rust tides, brown tides, mahogany tides that really choke waterways, kill fish and shellfish, and can shut down beaches. For many years, it was thought that surface runoff from fertilizer that was really rich in nitrogen compounds was the main reason for triggering all these harmful algal blooms. And for many years, organizations like the Nature Conservancy spent millions of dollars trying to fix that issue and to mitigate surface runoff. And they found that it wasn't making as big of a difference as they thought it was. I mean, it did make an impact to mitigate surface runoff effects, but they ended up going back to the research and finding that septic tanks, the hundreds of thousands of septic tanks leaching nitrogen rich wastewater into our bays and harbors was the primary cause of these harmful algal blooms. So this is really the main reason why we try to encourage homeowners to upgrade their septic systems, because it has been found, that's the main reason. So
Right. Yeah, we definitely here at our organization subscribe to the fact that fertilizers and the use of fertilizers contributes to the algal blooms on the bay. You know, those brown tides, mahogany tides that we hear about year after year since the mid 1980s. But that the cesspools and the nitrogen runoff from the wastewater is a huge contributor to the algal blooms and the health of the Great South Bay.
Yes, yeah, exactly. It's the number one cause, and it's the same problem that they're having in Nassau County too. It's a whole Long Island wide problem, and it's really prolific problem too. It's not just Long Island. It's a lot of the East Coast and places around the world that are suffering the same consequences of outdated septic tanks.
Well, and if you consider we live on an island and we're a sole source aquifer, right? We draw our water right from underneath our island. So
yes.
It makes this topic even that much more urgent. I know several municipalities there's some pretty big sewer connection programs coming up in the Mastic Beach area and in Town of Babylon, in particular, are two that I know of. So we're really happy as an organization to hear of more people getting connected to the sewers, but that's simply not an option for everybody.
Yeah, especially when Long Island was not intended to have so many people live on it, when people were building. Now it's like really built up with all these septic tanks, and it's there's just not the funding to create these sewer systems.
And so how does a homeowner know? I own a house, I flush my toilet. I don't really think too much, except if I have to empty it. How does somebody know if they have a cesspool or a septic tank?
Yeah, so I work with a lot of homeowners, and people usually first come to me when they have problems with their septic tank because they're having so many issues with it. If you have a septic tank if it's failing, because they back up, they smell really bad. You have to pump them and spend hundreds of dollars a year getting it pumped. And if you live in a high tide area and where there's a lot of flooding, then your septic tank is backing up, and it's disgusting. Your whole house smells like sewage, and it's just it's horrible. But you can kind of know if your septic tank, or if you have a cesspool, if your house was built prior to 1973 and you have not upgraded your septic system since, then you most likely just have a cesspool ring. If you have a newer home, then you probably have a septic tank connected to a cesspool. But really, any time you have a septic company come over, and they'll come and service it and pop off the lid, and they can really assist you and let you know what type of tank you have, how big it is, and if it is deteriorating and needs to really be replaced.
Right. So are you familiar with the sewer districts on the South Shore?
Yeah, yes.
For the sake of our audience, what are some of the areas that are definitely covered by sewers?
I would have to bring up a map. I can attach a link to a map if that's
that would be
helpful.
great.
Yeah,
I know here in Babylon Village, we have sewers. I know some places in North Babylon, my in-laws, for example, just a couple miles north, they're still on a cesspool system. If you don't have it handy, it's fine. I know we have been talking about specifically areas in surrounding Patchogue that were a large majority of them are still using cesspools. Were there specific areas that people should know, hey, if I live in this area, I might be interested in this program?
Yeah. And it's if you check out this map that I just attached in the link, it shows which parts. It's a little hard to see, but you can like zoom into your area and see specifically if you are in a sewer district or not.
Gotcha. Great. So, all right. So what if you have a cesspool and you want to help save the bay and you want to stop reduce your nitrogen pollution coming out of your yard, what is the alternative? And I think we get into some terminology here that we might have to explain to people. We do here at Save the Great South Bay, we do word of the week. And this is definitely going to be one of our, maybe for next week, our word of the week, because it's a pretty long acronym, the IA/OWTS. So
Yes,
can you tell us what the IA/OWTS is?
It's really like the acronym of the week. How many vowels can you put in an acronym? So it stands for Innovative Advanced On-Site Treatment, Wastewater Treatment Systems. And these are an excellent alternative to your current cesspool or septic tank. And they really are a septic tank that removes nitrogen from your wastewater, and they can remove up to 90% of nitrogen from your wastewater. And I should also say that Innovative Advanced, or sometimes they go by Innovative Alternative, is a bit of a misnomer because these systems have been around for decades and they are rigorously tested. They've been used all over the world to help countries successfully mitigate their nitrogen pollution problems. And these IA septic systems, they work similar to a septic tank and cesspool, but it adds in this biological processing component that's known as denitrification. And denitrification is a naturally occurring process. It converts your liquid nitrogen, that harmful nitrogen that acts like a fertilizer, right, and is like the primary trigger for harmful algal blooms. It converts it using denitrification into this harmless, unreactive gas called dinitrogen gas, or N2 gas. And that is released into the atmosphere, and it's totally unreactive. And N2, or dinitrogen gas, actually makes up 78% of the atmosphere. So it's a really great alternative to how we can treat our wastewater.
So we're creating another problem by adding something to the atmosphere that's harmful to it. The byproduct of the IA systems.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah, we are
occurring.
Yeah, we're just taking advantage of a natural process in the nitrogen cycle and taking the nitrogen out of the atmosphere. Because to make fertilizer, it's a process where they take N2 gas and they split it and they convert it into ammonia and nitrate. So we're basically taking that waste and now returning it back to the atmosphere, which is
okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but these systems are really effective. And once your wastewater in that tank is converted in the denitrification chamber of the IA septic system, it's then brought into a leaching system like a cesspool ring, or you can even have different types of drain fields, which take advantage of more denitrification processes that are happening in the soils and can remove even more nitrogen.
Okay. All right. So in comparison to a cesspool, if you said on a scale of 1 to 100, a cesspool leaches 100% of the nitrogen into the ground, an IA system leaches.
It can remove up to 90% of, so 10% of nitrogen goes back into the water.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's really extraordinary, the technology and how efficient it works.
So now size-wise, if I have a cesspool, some lots on Long Island are relatively small. What's the size requirements for, in comparison to a traditional or an outdated cesspool or septic system for one of these new IA systems?
You can retrofit them so they can fit on a small lot. That's a question that we get a lot. Mm-hmm. I have seen these IA septic systems being put on like a 40, or just like these really, really small lots, and you can really squeeze them in there. Like they don't take up any more space than a regular septic tank, right, or cesspool. And you can have a lot of towns in the county have special setbacks. But if you have an existing septic tank or cesspool in place, there's variances that you can apply for, so they can be retrofit and put into your smaller lot. And it's
all underground?
Yes, it is all underground. There is one electrical component that like a monitoring state or an alarm station. So if your septic system ever turns off, or if there's a problem with it, then an alarm will go off and it'll alert the homeowner. And the only visible part of the septic system are these risers. So they kind of look like manhole covers. So they're usually green, and they sit on the top of your yard, and usually see two risers, or sometimes some cesspools or IA septic systems. The design is like a 2x6 kind of square, and they're really not that visible. And I've seen people hide them by putting plants over them.
Oh yeah, that's smart. Make it.
Yeah. I've seen people put flower pots, benches. Some people
Mhm.
build like their deck over it. It's they're not yeah.
So I know with cesspools you have to often pump them out. I don't know. I guess it depends on how often you use your facilities. But what is the maintenance on an IA system versus a traditional or an outdated system?
Yeah, so if you have a failing septic system and you're getting it pumped like twice a year or 3-4 times a year, you're spending hundreds of dollars getting it pumped. If you install an IA septic system, it is required by Suffolk County that you get a 3-year operational and maintenance contract with whoever sells the septic tank to you. And that usually costs about $300 a year to get that operation and maintenance contract. However, this is a really great service that they provide. They're not pumping the tank every time they come and visit, but they do come about twice a year, and they'll come look at your septic system, just really quickly go through it, make sure all the components are working, make sure everything looks good. They might add some additional bacteria to it to help the denitrification process along. And it really provides a lot of peace of mind to the homeowner.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So let's get down to maybe to some of the nitty gritty. So
Yeah.
I'm sure people want to do this, and as often things are around the home, it's a question of cost. What does it cost to pull out? I mean, do you have to pull out your old system to gets completely replaced? They dig up your yard. How does that work?
It depends. Every home is different, but on average, it costs homeowners or the system itself to do the whole installation costs about $20,000. But it really can vary based on a case-to-case basis. Like if your property is more complicated, if you have a larger home, or if they're doing an excavation and they find some abandoned oil drum in your yard, it can change the price. But to do like a conventional septic tank or a cesspool upgrade, it's around the order of $6,000 to $10,000. But we have found that homeowners, there are many grants available from Suffolk County, and we have found that homeowners that receive funding from Suffolk County end up paying less than they would for a conventional septic system when they choose to install an IA septic system with the grant.
So is it there's one thing for new homes, right? But for an existing, there are grants available for replacement systems.
Yes, that's correct. As of July 1st of last year, it is mandatory now for homes that are doing major renovations or new construction to have these IA septic systems. But if you are upgrading your septic tank on your current property, then you are eligible for grants. And I can talk a little bit more about the grants too. Suffolk County has a really robust program called Reclaim Our Water,
Right.
where homeowners can be eligible for up to $30,000 for the cost to install one of these IA septic systems. And the grant funding comes through both New York State and Suffolk County. It's the New York State Septic Improvement Program, and then matches from Suffolk County. And the program has really taken flight over the last few years, and hundreds of these septic systems have gone into the ground since the program has started. And in addition to the county and the state grants, if you live in certain towns like Southampton, East Hampton, or Shelter Island, there are even more rebates available to help offset the cost. If you
Those
decide,
are from the town level?
yes, from the town level.
Mhm.
So if you live in one of those towns, you might be eligible for additional funding through the town, but you have to apply through the town.
Right. Okay.
So an applicant has to apply for a grant prior to installing one of the IA septic systems. You apply on Reclaim Our Water's website,
Mhm.
and they will rank your home based on priority. Using priority status is usually given to homes that have immediate failures. So if your septic tank just collapsed in your backyard and you need a septic system like right away,
Right.
they usually give priority to homeowners like that. Or if the closer you live to the water, the higher priority status you'll be given, and the faster your application will be processed.
I can't imagine your septic system collapses. Basically, you can't use your facilities in your home, right? I mean, that's an emergency, like an emergency use.
Exactly.
The permitting process moved that fast. It's hard to imagine, anything bureaucratic moving that fast.
No, they have a special fast track application program where they can do it in a day. So
Wow, that's terrific.
yeah, so if you are having an emergency, if your septic system collapses, call the county, and they can help you get that process moving.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, but that I definitely think that's a great service, because people don't think about their septic systems until they collapse in their backyard.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, my parents, their septic system collapsed twice in the past 2 decades. So
Wow.
they need an IA system now too.
Mhm.
Yeah, but it's also important to note that the grant funding is going to whoever you choose to install your septic system. So homeowners don't have to pay $20,000 out of pocket. It's whoever you choose to install the septic system, they're going to put that money up front.
Mhm.
And then the county directly reimburses that installer.
Okay.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I know one of the big questions was, before we talk a little bit about more about the money, what are some of the other homeowner benefits of upgrading their septic system?
Oh, there's so many good benefits. I think the biggest thing though is just that it provides peace of mind. If you have a septic tank and you are constantly pumping it and just spending hundreds of dollars pumping it, it's a huge headache. These septic systems, they're reliable. They're not going to collapse in your backyard, and they perform really well in areas that flood because they are watertight. Or areas that have really high water tables. And
That's a big problem for us here on the South Shore. We have a lot of areas that are coastal that have very high water tables.
Yeah. And the drain field, you can have it designed so you don't have a cesspool, but you have what's called a shallow pressurized drain field, which is a type of leaching system that's just a couple inches below the surface of the ground. But it's not going to get flooded every time it's not going to get flooded like a cesspool every time the water table rises or it floods.
Okay.
And in addition to them having that watertight aspect, they're also beneficial because these septic systems, there have been several studies done that have shown that if you have one of these systems, it can help improve your property value by like 13 to 15%. Improve your property value. Yeah, so that's pretty significant too. Yeah. Because it is such a huge concern if you're buying a home and if you have a faulty septic system and you're going to have to spend thousands of dollars to replace it.
Yeah, 75% of homes in Suffolk County still have outdated cesspools or septic systems. That's a lot of unrealized property value right there.
Yes, yeah. So I love these IA septic systems, and I really think the watertight aspect and the fact that it's not going to flood every time your water table rises and smell awful is a really big win
For us,
and a really big
obviously,
benefit.
the big win is for the Great South Bay with the
Yes.
reduction coming off of it. We'd really like to reverse the tide or turn the tide on
Yeah.
the nitrogen runoff that's hitting the bay and causing these algal blooms and fish kills. So these
Right. And
are,
yeah,
you know, the programs that are connecting homeowners to the sewers are great, and we love those, but there seems to be a lot more opportunities for these IA systems to go in individual yards. So
yeah. So it's great for the environment, and it's also great for the homeowners' peace of mind and their wallet, because
property
if you
value.
get a grant, then you're not really paying that much. You're paying less than you would to upgrade to one of these cesspool
Can we
to
go back
conventional
to that-
system.
Go back to that grant for a second. I think one of the questions I've heard about this grant is the taxable status of it. So
Yes.
how does that work? I think some people had gone into the Reclaim Our Water program and were under the impression that they get a grant, and you know it's non-matchable and untaxable, and they may have gotten a little surprised there at the end of the year when they went to do their tax returns. Can you speak a little bit to that?
Yeah, I definitely think that's something everyone needs to know going into this program, is that these grants are currently considered taxable income. If you get a grant, you definitely want to consult with your legal or accounting advisor and just know the tax implications going into it. However, large organizations like Save the Great South Bay, the Nature Conservancy, the North Shore Land Alliance, we're all working to help create legislation to remove this tax, because it's not really fair to tax people who are doing the right thing and going through the process of upgrading their IA septic systems.
Yes, absolutely. We want to encourage people to take advantage of the opportunity.
Yeah, and it's not just a local issue, it's a national issue. A lot of these environmental rebates are being taxed, and there are bills that we're working on right now at this very moment to try to help mitigate this issue and remove the tax for good. But despite the tax, it's still important to note that you are going to be receiving a large amount of funding to upgrade your septic tank or cesspool.
So how much do you think does it offset if you say that, you know, if the typical system costs around $20,000 and the grant is $20,000, I mean, how much are people really coming out of pocket for such a system in general? I mean, I know every case is different.
Yeah, it's definitely hard to say because in addition to the grant, certain out-of-pocket costs can be waived if you qualify as a low to moderate income homeowner. Every time someone applies to the program, then Suffolk County is looking through your tax return and can determine if you qualify for low to moderate income status.
That's great to know.
Yeah, so if you, one of the costs that isn't covered by the grant is the fee for a design professional, either an engineer or an architect, to make your plans. And that's usually about $2,500, but people with the LMI status, the fee is waived and the county will pay for that. But I think with the taxes and the out-of-pocket costs, I think people probably pay around $5,000 out of pocket.
Okay.
But that's still less than it would be if you had a conventional septic system.
Right. Or, you know, if you have to maintain your system a couple times a year, those costs add up pretty quickly. Plus
Yeah,
the
yeah.
damage that's being done to the environment on a daily basis is, you know,
Yes.
you can't put a number on that. It's
Yeah.
that's a tremendous cost to our environment.
Yes, absolutely.
So Kat, just so we can get it on the record, I know people can reach out to you for more information. You've been tremendously helpful so far in providing us a lot of information, but as you said, every case is specific to the homeowner. So where can people find more information? I know you had mentioned the Reclaim Our Water. I think it's reclaimourwater.org is a place to find basic information about IA, OWTS systems. If you want to recap on some of that information, and I believe you said that's where people can apply for the grant.
Yes, so I just sent a link in the chat, and it brings you to the www.reclaimourwater. website, and that is where the application portal is. And they have a ton of information um, on costs, on where you can find installers, and what documents you need to apply.
Okay.
But we have found that this program can seem kind of overwhelming for homeowners, because how many times do you change out your septic system in your life?
Right.
So it's kind of a process
Only
that,
once.
yeah, usually only once, hopefully not twice.
Mhm.
So that's why the Nature Conservancy and the North Shore Land Alliance set up my position. So I'm the Water Quality Improvement Coordinator, and I am funded through a grant by the Fish and Wildlife Foundation. And I essentially help homeowners through the entire process of applying for a grant and installing an IA septic system for free. Basically just helping people get unblocked, helping them find paperwork. If you don't have access to computers, I can help you print out documents and help things get notarized, so you can speed the process up a little bit and really answer any questions that you have along the way, because it can be such a daunting program. And it's a great program, but it's a lot of information, and it's a lot of steps that you have to take to get one of these septic systems installed.
So the North Shore Land Alliance is kind of providing almost like a concierge service that will help you, walk you through the process. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm kind of like a septic expediter.
I'm gonna call you
And
concierge.
yeah, your septic concierge. So it's I think it's a really great service, and we've had the privilege of helping a lot of people upgrade their septic systems. And
How do
they're
people get in contact with you, Kat, directly?
Yes, so I can add my contact information in here, and I'll also let me add our website on here really quickly too.
I'm gonna say the Reclaim Our Water is not .org, it's reclaimourwater.info for anybody who's out there listening. And a second website where you can find some information and get direct contact to Katherine Coughlin with the North Shore Land Alliance. Your Cesspool Concierge is upgradeyourseptic.org. Again,
Yes.
that's upgradeyourseptic.org, or Katherine at northshorelandalliance.org. It's Katherine with a K, so Katherine at northshorelandalliance.org. And that's how you would reach out to Katherine for some more information specific to your home. Katherine can help you walk through the process of applying for grants, what grants you qualify for, whether there's additional grant funding available on the local municipal level. Katherine, do you know of anything? Because Great South Bay runs along the three towns of Town of Babylon, Town of Islip, and Town of Brookhaven. Do you know offhand if any of those towns offer additional grant funding at this time?
I don't think they do at this time. I would have to double check, unless if you've heard anything.
I haven't heard of anything
We
yet.
haven't heard anything, but we are trying to work with those towns to set up more grants.
There does seem to be a lot of infrastructure money coming the way of New York and Long Island. So perhaps it would be prudent of the towns to put some of that infrastructure money towards homeowner infrastructure, greener infrastructure in the form of these innovative and alternative on-site wastewater treatment systems.
Yeah, absolutely, because it's a huge issue, and it's only going to get worse. It's so important that we tackle this issue right now, because the longer we take to do this, the worse the problem is going to get, and the more expensive it's going to be.
Yeah, the easier we make it for our homeowners to help save the Great South Bay and help the water quality on Long Island, the better off we'll all be. So
Yeah,
Katherine, I have a question from John over on Fire Island. He said, for our house on Fire Island, I assume that in addition to the potential possibility for funding, which is great, you also have to go through the permitting process.
Yeah, so
Talk to us
permitting,
about the permitting process.
yes. So once you receive the grant, then you will find a design professional, engineer, architect, who will start creating those plans for you. And all the permitting is done through Suffolk County's Department of Health. So it's pretty standardized, and the engineers are really familiar with that. So the permits that you receive would be through the Suffolk County Department of Health. And then once you install that IA septic system, an inspector from the Department of Health will come out, check, make sure your septic system looks good, it meets all the requirements. And once they kind of give it that seal of approval, then the final grant is issued.
So it's not you don't go permitting through the towns, the permitting process occurs through Suffolk County.
Yes, unless if there's like some other type of permit that you might need that's specific to the town, then you might have to go through the Brookhaven Department of Building.
The building departments of your relevant town. Okay.
Yes.
All right, great. I'm just going to put out a question. Thanks. He said thanks for answering that question.
Thank you.
Good question, John, and thanks for some audience participation. Appreciate that. So Katherine, is there anything else that you'd like to tell us about the IAOWTSs?
I guess one thing I haven't mentioned yet, I don't know if anyone here lives in Nassau County. Nassau County also just opened up a grant program called Nassau Septic, and homeowners can be eligible for up to $20,000 through their county program. And if you live there, you should apply now because the spots are going quickly. They only have funding for 200 applicants at the moment. So if you know anyone there too, let them know, and I can work in both Nassau and Suffolk counties. But
Terrific.
yeah. I'm trying to think of anything I missed. There's so much detail in my head right now, and I hope I've answered everyone's questions.
Well, we really appreciate you joining us today and giving us a primer on once again, the IAOWTS systems, the innovative alternative on-site wastewater treatment systems that are a terrific alternative and upgrade to traditional cesspools and septic tanks. Traditional cesspools and septic tanks leach nitrogen into the groundwater, which eventually makes its way to the Great South Bay, triggering algal blooms and fish kills. And it's very harmful to marine life. So anything we can do, every single cesspool that gets converted is one less in the system. There are hundreds of thousands of them out there. So hopefully we can keep the ball rolling and get some more of them converted, thanks to today's conversation with you, Katherine.
Yeah, thank you. And make sure if you have a problem with your septic tank, try to upgrade it now, because we don't know if funding is going to be around forever. So it makes sense. You can get a septic system for almost free at this point. So just take advantage of it and upgrade your septic system.
So I'm going to just give your email address once again, Katherine. It's Katherine with a K, KATHERINE at the North Shore Land Alliance.org for more information, or you can always reach out to us at info@savethegreatsouthbay.org, and we're happy to connect you with Katherine. So thanks for joining us today, Katherine, on this episode of Water Matters. We look forward to working with you in the future.
Yes, thank you so much. And please reach out if you have any more questions. Always happy to help.
Terrific. Have a great day, everybody.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye.